82-year-old R. Balasubramanian enjoys his garden in Bengaluru. The greenery is nourished, and indeed all his household requirements are met by a simple old-fashioned well, which the retired electrical engineer revived after it ran dry. He was going to close it, but decided to take the advice of reviving it using rainwater harvesting. And 3 years later, the well began giving water again. Plenty of it.
Fortunately, the catchment area for my house is the slope roof.
Okay,
You can find it.
Okay.
It is about 1,000 square foot area
So the rainwater falls there and
for there. And the roof also is there. So that is also another 1,000 feet.
Okay.
So what Vishwanath told me is to convert the whole area through a pipeline and direct it to this well.
So that is the pipeline there. That is the pipeline which takes rainwater from from the roof.
From there it has come.
Yes.
So from that time onwards, for the last 10 years, the groundwater level has increased very enormously.
Wow. Okay.
First 4 years, it was built up slowly.
Yes.
I had about 6 feet water only or so.
At what depth?
Yes.
How deep was it?
Now the depth of the water is, depth of the well is around 45 feet.
45 feet. Okay.
22 rings and 1 feet. Now today, the water level is at 13 feet.
Wow.
See how much the groundwater level has increased slowly. And as on date, I have no dearth of water for the past 7 years. And I don't consume Kaveri water at all.
Balasubramanian's precious well is one of the answers to the vital challenges facing many of our mega cities. How do we make sure we have enough water for the millions of residents? India's IT capital is one of the fastest growing cities in Asia. From a peaceful large town known for its greenery, public sector companies, and of course its weather, Bengaluru is now home to more than 10 million people. And as you pass enormous under construction apartment complexes, the question comes to mind: where are they going to get their water from? In dry summers, water tankers are a common sight, with people clustering around them to fill their pots with water. Water tankers are often used to fill the larger tanks of apartments and middle-class homes. But though some areas on the outskirts and some pockets in the city may face a shortage, the city does overall actually have enough water for its thirsty population.
If you take the population as about 11 million now for Greater Bangalore, the requirement would be about 1,600 million litres per day. In terms of the standards, that's at 150 litres per capita per day. What the city is getting is about 1,400 million litres from the BWSSB and an additional 400 to 600 million litres from groundwater.
So the available water from Kaveri and from the groundwater, it does cover the requirements of, say, 150 litres a day?
It does. At a broad figure number, it does, though there are pockets of insufficiency as is expected in a large city.
Where else is the city getting water from?
The city used to get water from the Hesarghatta reservoir on the Arkavati and then the Tippagondannalli reservoir. Both these are dysfunctional now for various reasons. Hesarghatta does not have enough water. Tippagondannalli has polluted water coming into it. So we've gone to the Kaveri. From the Kaveri, we'll draw about 2,175 MLD. We are drawing water from groundwater, which unfortunately is unmanaged. If it's formally structurally managed, we should be able to draw about 600 million litres to 700 million litres per day if we do rainwater harvesting. We can recycle wastewater. That's happening at small scale. For example, the thermal power plant at Yelahanka is getting 15 MLD from the Jakkur sewage treatment plant, or the Kavan Park wastewater treatment plant supplying 4 MLD of very good quality treated wastewater for the park's requirement. So wastewater will also kick in.
The city is unusual in that much of its drinking water supply is from the river Kaveri, from over 100 kilometers away.
We have one of the most expensive waters for any city in Asia. We have the highest embodied energy for any water system in Asia, because we have to pump it 100 kilometers and 300 meters. It's very unusual. But look at it on the other hand, it's a tremendous engineering feat. We give rubbish to the BWSSB, but they were the first institution to be established in '64, and they are delivering that water consistently since 1972. Phenomenal engineering task. We now to push ourselves to the ecological task of making sure that the Kaveri flows. that the catchment is protected, and that we get good quality water from the river, especially focusing on the tributaries of the Kaveri.
The situation for the city has improved, with an additional amount of 14.75 TMC feet of Kaveri water now allotted to Karnataka, bringing its total to over 284 TMC feet. While deciding on the increase, the Supreme Court cited the drinking water needs of Bengaluru. In times of drought too, drinking water is given priority over irrigation, and the city had been getting around 18 TMC feet of Kaveri water for drinking purposes. This means that the catchment areas of the Kaveri River, the Western Ghats and Kodagu district in particular, need to be safe from deforestation. Local green warriors in Kodagu have tried pointing out the dangers of mega projects that require the cutting of thousands of trees, and have pointed out the very real impact on Bengaluru's drinking water supply. Groundwater is another major source of water for the city. The recently released Niti Aayog report suggests the city may run out of groundwater by the year 2020. Borewells that used to yield water at a depth of a few hundred feet in decades gone past are now being drilled to a whopping 1,500 to 2,000 feet. There is no good monitoring of borewell drilling, and the groundwater level in some areas has fallen over the years. In theory, permission is required to drill a borewell, but that does not always happen, and there are an estimated 400,000 borewells in the city now. Traditionally, open wells were used as a source of water, and water experts believe that this could help the city raise the groundwater level. One of the solutions being suggested by water experts here in Bengaluru is to have many such small, open recharge wells. This stormwater drain has in fact been blocked so that water that gathers here goes into the ground and recharges the water. And they believe that if there are about 1 million such wells spread across Bengaluru, the city need never run out of water, thanks to the rainwater that comes here every year. Clean lakes will go a long way in replenishing the groundwater. The city is fortunate to have an interconnected system of lakes. The bad news, most are too polluted to be used, and some like Bengaluru and Vartur have made international headlines with their froth and flames. The cleaning up of the lakes, pushed by residents and directions from the National Green Tribunal, is a work in progress, and was mentioned in the recent maiden budget of the Janata Dal Secular Congress government, with 50 crores provided for the rejuvenation of Bengaluru Lake. But it will be a while before the city, which has lost many of its earlier hundreds of lakes to encroachment and garbage dumping, is once again home to clean water bodies. Rainwater is another resource that has certainly not been tapped fully. The city does receive around 800 millimeters of rain on an average each year. The BBMP has made it mandatory that new houses and buildings have provisions for rainwater harvesting, but rainwater remains a much neglected source. S. Vishwanath shows what is possible. The rooftop of his house, built in a 50 by 30 feet site, is densely green with the help of rain and recycled grey water from his washing machine and bathroom.
Bangalore gets the equivalent of 3,000 million litres a day. We are blessed with good rainfall, 970 millimeters, spread from May till December, 8 months of rainfall. 3,000 million litres per day is a huge volume. If we're able to harvest half of it, we're getting the equivalent of the Kaveri on our rooftops. And so therefore we should be more wise about harvesting rainwater.
Water experts in the city of Bengaluru say the city is not going to face a water crisis as long as we all are careful with the way we use the water and don't waste it and recycle it. This rooftop garden, just a single example of what can be done with recycled water and rainwater, a good use of the resources that are available to all of us, that precious resource of water.
It's wrong to cry wolf all the time. What happens is if you create panic, then the solutions that emerge would be, for example, the crazy solution of getting water from the Sharavati or the Linganmakki Dam, or to get it from the sea, the Arabian Sea. If you think calmly, we understand that there's a problem, but the problem is not insurmountable. There's a problem where everybody can participate as becoming part of the solution. And those solutions are local, and they're based on local resource, local wastewater, local lakes, local groundwater, and local rainwater. Then our way of approaching the solution would be very different. I'm not sure that these scare scenarios are helping anybody at all.
You don't think that they're based on any kind of sound science?
I'm not sure that they're based on any local knowledge of what's happening with water, and I'm sure that Bangalore has done way better than what it's blamed for. It can do a lot more better. It can clean up Bengaluru and Vartur. That's a crisis that needs to be tackled. But it's not gloom and doom everywhere.
But while Bengaluru may not be facing a water crisis now, there is certainly no room for complacency. The vital issue of water usage is being governed by too many agencies with different bodies looking after water supply, lakes, pollution, sewage. We all need to take responsibility for our water usage, for the country, for the city, and for ourselves. And there are good examples to follow.
Even I know that every drop of water is a saving to my house, to my country. So I never waste a single drop of water. Like every citizen make a saving of this rainwater. Oh, India will flourish like anything. And unfortunately, it is not being followed by so many people. I'll save a lot of money, leave alone the water. Yes. And the thing is, I save about 3,000 rupees or so per month, my consumption of the water. And the Kaveri water, the BWSSB, they spend 13 to 20 rupees to bring 1 kg to my house. Yes. But that amount of money I save it for the BWSSB, also, yes. And for my own self, I save the water. It cannot be described by words. Everyone should experience the rainwater harvest.
With DM Kumar, Maya Sharma in Bengaluru for NDTV. Does the big thirsty city of Bengaluru have enough water? It's a simple question, maybe not such a simple answer, but joining us to help answer that, Leo Saldana of the Environment Support Group and also Shubha Ramachandran, Water Sustainability Consultant of the Biome Environmental Trust. Leo, coming to you first, we've had all of these reports, the Niti Aayog report as well, saying that Bengaluru is in a really, really bad way. Do you think the situation is so bad? Are we going to run out of water?
Well, I would say yes, there is a serious water problem, and yes, we can also work our way out of it. It depends how you see the problem, because if you see the overall situation of Bangalore and the Kaveri water supply, it supplies water to less than half of the city's population. Okay. So about 500 square kilometers of Bangalore's water spread, which is about 200 square kilometers now, gets the Kaveri water supply. So the question is what happens to the remaining population, which is in the 700 square kilometers. They are going underground. So in real terms, the problem is for them. So there is a built-in disparity in the city's water supply system, which has not been attended to.
So there is enough water overall for all the citizens?
I think there is a lot of water in Bangalore. If you also include the fact that every household, every building can also harvest rain and capture rain where it falls. Okay. And we also recover the canal systems, which is 840 kilometers of length, and the lakes. And that can be done. It's far less expenditure doing that and soaking the water than to depend on systems which are far away.
Systems are far away because Kaveri is 100 kilometers away. It's just so far away.
And it is also a huge drain in terms of the electricity that is demanded to pump it every day. Yes, and amazing. Also the treatment systems and the storage systems. Besides, it's also true that Kaveri is a river which is in conflict perpetually, not just with Tamil Nadu. Even between Mandya and Bangalore, there is conflict.
Yes. The city people are getting it, the farmers are not. That attitude is there. Like you spoke about also rainwater harvesting, lakes recharging the groundwater, but the report also says that by 2020, Bengaluru may run out of groundwater itself. Do you see it being such a crisis? Yeah. Is it alarmist?
Yeah, so I can speak from experience. We are a group that gets people to implement rainwater harvesting. We work a lot with well diggers. What we have seen is that in areas where you do shallow groundwater recharge, so let's say these are recharge wells that are dug to 20, 30, 40 feet deep, in certain areas, not all parts of Bangalore, when you recharge continuously, and you can see historically the area had open wells, which used to be sources of water. These wells seem to come back to life.
And come back. Even at a shallow, not at hundreds of feet, but shallow.
Yes. And then people are slowly, though they are a little wary because there are issues with quality, nobody is really very sure, but there are communities that are looking to open wells as sources of water. So I think there is a lot of hope in the shallow aquifer. The deeper aquifer, however, is a little uncertain. There are bore wells that go down as deep as 1700 feet. The deepest I've seen is 1750 feet down on Sarjapura Road. Those bore wells, though the deeper you go, the likelihood of your getting water is higher, but it's we've done a few participative groundwater mapping studies. As part of what we see is that the lower you go, you get water, but it doesn't last very long. And these are not really the larger resources of water. The sources of water.
Tap it for a while, but then
then it runs out. The real cracks or the aquifers which are holding water are at between about 600, 700 feet. Below that, while you may get cracks with water, but the sources are not infinite.